Here's a list of things I didn't know I wanted to see until I played this game. 1. Kurisu asking if Okabe is gay. 2. Okabe asking Kurisu if she's into BL. 3. Okabe accusing Kurisu of having a piss king. 4. Kurisu bringing Okabe to her hotel and tying him blindfolded to the bed. Yes, I'm serious, this happens. I went into this thinking it was gonna be a dating sim. It was not. Now, don't get me wrong, there's dating sim elements in it, but it is not a dating sim. It is about fighting late-stage capitalism and about how the tax bureau is an important force for tempering the evil and the chaos of the world, forging it into stability and goodness, among other things. 5. Really, what this is an expansion of every single one of the characters and their relationships in the best and also silliest way possible. So, the main reason I think the anime is just objectively superior to the visual novel is because Okabe and Kurisu have so much more chemistry, and the relationship just comes to life as sparks fly between them in every single scene they're together. And My Darling's Embrace is just more of that, when sparks literally fly between them when Kurisu invents a shock bracelet that only comes off when each party falls in love with the other. This is everything amazing about their relationship for like 2 hours straight, topped with some eroge and light bondage. 6. This.
お前は一体何をしているの？さっさと食べなさいグズ。片付けられないでしょ？水のおかわり？お前のような犬はその辺にあるドブの水でも飲んでればいいわ。
You know, I get like a weird number of comments from people saying they want a slice of life sequel to Steins Gate where Okabe and Kurisu just kind of hang out. Well guys, here it is! This is literally what this is, and it's been around for like 10 years. The only confusing thing to me is, why did they choose to animate Steins Gate 0 when this is sitting right here? It's nice, it's fun, and the romance is just done so goddamn well. Not just the Kurisu route, but the Mayuri route too. The Mayuri ending in the original honestly felt kind of token and cheap. To be fair, it was the bad ending, but he was just like, oh, I guess I'm dating Mayuri. Whatever, sure. And I hated how it was handled in Zero because she's just aggressive and edgy for absolutely no fucking reason, and it left a worse taste in my mouth than all the sucking off the anime I do in these videos. The Mayuri route in this game, though, rather than loud and edgy, feels playful and innocent. Mayuri is in love with Okabe, and he keeps pretending she isn't because he sees her as a little sister, an innocent little girl that needs protecting, rather than the woman she's turning into. You ever played Legend of Dragoon? It's like that. Not the OMG, we are so kawaii childhood friends and destined lovers and stuff, like so anime and all, like oh my god. Hold on, let me just go do some light seppuku really quick. And we're back. Not that kind of thing that feels cheap. If the characters just default to a relationship, there's literally no reason to care besides the hordes of doujins that are only too necessary because the producers were too cowardly to make their own pornography. We want tension and drama. This is exactly why the original Mayuri ending kind of sucks, because they just default to a relationship like she's a back burner thought just kind of being kept around in the lab. This is, by the way, why Domestic Girlfriend is unironically a work of genius. The manga, at least. I haven't seen the anime. Side note, this is also, by the way, why there are no Domekano doujins, because the author actually had the stones to write her own. So this, an evolution of their friendship as it grows up, not because they were childhood friends, but in spite of it, feels so much more natural. Not a disposition towards boning, but actively resisting it and finally giving in at the end. It's not just a change in their actions, but a fundamental change in their relationship. Something Bryan Cranston often says is,
if a character cries easily, the audience doesn't have to. But if a character tries not to cry, that's when the audience will.
This is kind of the same thing. You don't want to see characters just develop feelings and fall in love. That's boring romance for sad normies who live in the 3D world. Yes, your flying rose, maybe fly right off the boat and drown, you fucking cunt. You want to see characters resist their feelings. Why do you think Okabe and Kurisu are such a good couple? Because they're so similar that they repel each other. Opposites don't attract, idiot. Like minds repel. They don't just go, oh, haha, you're into science, I'm into science, we should like hang out and stuff. He's like, and she's like,
おい変態狂魔
that, my friends, is what love looks like. Among other things. 7. Yandere Kurisu.
ちょマキセシヤンデレが来た
だから言ったでしょ綺麗な
So, that's the kind of thing we see in the Mayuri route. Okabe realizes that not only is she not the same person she once was, but neither is she, and that relationships can and will change over time. And he was just taking her for granted, like it would be the same forever in some naive delusion. And what's sad is that this is even that hard to write. This is literally just one more step removed from childhood friend, but that's all it takes. And yet 90% of animes still somehow fuck this up, including the literal sequel to Steins Gate. Why is everyone so fucking bad at writing? And the other routes are all just as good. Again, the Kurisu route, which is basically perfect rom-com writing. 8. This.
ジャックだけで何かを乗っ取るって意味はない
Oh, you are correct, Kurisu. You are so very correct. In the Moeka route, they form an actual band for the Battle of the Bands, and not only is this, as I hope you'll agree, absolutely hilarious, we get to see her as not this loner neat that just gets used and tossed aside, but instead, this neglected and abused girl trying her best to overcome her past and come out of her shell. Sure, we kind of get to see this at the end of the anime, but here it just takes this and fucking runs with it and makes Mr. Braun her father and her the lead singer for the Battle of the Bands. Yes, this happens, right? Oh my god. Again, if you wanted a slice of life sequel to Steins Gate, this is exactly what this is. Mr. Braun is like, what if you date my daughter? And Okabe is like, no, I can't do that. And he's like, I'll pay you money. And Okabe is like, her tits are so big. What I mean is we get to see the characters if they got to live normal lives, as if the story just continued after the ending, as every character got their own very deserved slice of happiness. Sure, Moeka's awkward, depressed, and overall socially regressive. But what we get to see is her taking a job and doing her best to come out of her shell and live a normal life. Not just by pursuing a romance with Okabe, but with her job too. She's a reporter, an actual one, and from the look of it, a pretty good one. She takes Okabe to get haunted pictures, but ends up faking them herself. Is that ethical? Well, she knows she's writing trashy smut, so what's the big deal? I guess more than one count of illegal trespassing. Look, you just kind of have to play this because it's honestly great. I do have some criticisms. One, the intro is a little lame. It spends like over an hour recapping the original story, which literally 100% of players will be familiar with unless they're either waking up from an extremely severe concussion or there's some weird sicko that decided to skip right to the dating sim, in which case they deserve to be dragged out back and shot. 2, the way you pick the different routes is more than a little lame. They're all chosen at the exact same time by slightly changing the contents of one D-mail. This just seems lazy. I mean, it's literally one step removed from a multiple choice list, but the only real difference is being that 1, if you skip an option, you have to restart from the beginning of the fucking game because for some reason, Steins Gate has no back skip function, and 2, you have no idea whose route you're actually choosing until you select it, so like, seriously, why did they bother? And also, the true ending route, just like the original, involves the most asinine, convoluted shit this side of Fooly Cooly, where you have to pick completely arbitrary dialogue options in the little side conversations, and somehow that opens up the true ending, making completing this without a guide a sport for complete fucking psychopaths. And 3, a couple of the routes are less than good. Well, the Ruka route is actually amazing. This is actually the most romance-heavy route, but I'm not exactly sold on how he got there. Apparently, Okabe is the one that confessed to Ruka, and not only is it literally never explained how that ever happened, none of the other characters questions this in the slightest or sees it as even a little bit odd, which is weird because it uses the world line where Ruka has a dick, and a huge one at that. 5. They didn't have to, but I guess someone decided that they needed to have a certain amount of BL in the game being marketed as a dating sim. But I mean, if that's the case, why stop there? Why not make this an actual dating sim on top of everything else it is? They could have easily made this into a full-on H game with very little bonus effort. I, for one, would jerk off to it. Nice joke, come all the comments from people who haven't read any of the doujins. 5. I mean, I guess on one hand, there's no real way Okabe would just date Ruka. Yes, there's the Ruka ending in the original, but that's different, not just because she has a vagina, but also because he wasn't just choosing to date her. He was choosing to live with his mistakes. That's different. But on the other, I guess since there's no way this would happen, why not just go all hog-ass wild and make something absolutely silly that definitely does not make sense? But sure, whatever, let's move past this. I mean, Okabe and Ruka trained to fight a motherfucking dragon together. If that's not exactly what you were hoping to see, get help, idiot. The Suzuha route, though, I feel, less strongly about. It's fine. But if you thought Daru was creepy before, here he spends a full 2 hours trying to bone Suzuha. This just goes on and on because for some reason we're not allowed to tell him that Suzuha is his daughter because that would change the future or something. Even though this is literally what happens in the original, like the authors decided to write this by drinking until they came up with the kinkiest and most inappropriate shit they could get away with and just blacked out by the time they got to Suzuha. And then when they woke up, they forgot why they decided to make the fetish route a story about capitalism, but figured no matter how much they drank, they couldn't come up with anything better than that, and well, I kind of have to agree.
サボるんじゃないわよ、このクズ。手叱ってあげましょうか。
Yes. Yes, yes, fuck, yes, 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 fuck, yes, fuck. So welcome back, friends, to my series where I review literally every Steins Gate spin-off so we can rank them all on a big tier list at the end. If you were surprised how good the dating sim is, get ready to be even more surprised when we talk about when they took this and turned it into an isekai. I'm sorry, what? As always, thank you so much for your time, friends, and I will see you in the next video.